welcome to Movie Review Mom. Today the movie I'm reviewing is Hotel Mumbai. It is rated R. It is 2 hours and 3 minutes, and the score that I gave it is a B. So first, let me give you the heads up for parents. This is not a movie for kids. The body count and the extreme violence is quite high. There are subtitles in parts, so little kids would have to read it to know what was going on. And you don't want your little kids watching this. There's some profanity, including one F-bomb that I heard, and lots of bloody dead bodies. It's particularly powerful because it's based on the chilling true story of the 2008 attack on the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel in Mumbai by a group of Pakistani terrorists. It's just heartbreaking to see so many innocent lives taken by such a senseless act of violence. It's definitely a rated R movie. So again, I would not recommend this for kids to see. If they want to talk about the history, you can talk about it, but a lot of little kids or even teenagers might not even remember this from when it was in the news. Quite a few movies have actually been made about this horrific event in India already. And this one doesn't necessarily add anything new to what was stated before in those other films, other than it brings it to the attention of the American moviegoers. Americans, for the most part, are not big documentary lovers, and some of these other films were documentaries, so they may just not, or you may not have seen these other movies. Now, I say that, and I know there are some of you who love documentaries, as do I. I'm just saying, documentaries don't make it to the big screen, obviously, as much as the average moviegoer sees and participates in. Anyway, so some of the positive themes in this movie are survival, choices, courage. There are always heroes in these kinds of movies as well as villains. So some of the things that I really liked are, first of all, Academy Award nominee Dev Patel is outstanding. He's just really great. I kind of thought he was going to be in every scene in all of the movies, and he's not, because there are a lot of other people and lots of other things going on. But when he's on screen, he's great. He was fantastic in both movies, The Lion and Slumdog Millionaire, both movies that are great, heartbreaking equally, but great. And I always love watching Armie Hammer and Jason Isaacs in movies. They had roles that, again, not on screen the entire time, but when they were on, they did a great job. And I really like movies about true events that use research and material to really make it authentic. So in this case, actual conversations on cell phones were transcripted and used as some of the dialogue in this film. So the dialogue, it seems very believable. And what's especially impressive is that there were so many languages spoken in the film. There's English, of course, Hindi, Russian, Arabic, Greek, Punjabi, Urdu, Persian, Marathi, and the average American can't tell the difference between several of those. But knowing that much research went into the film makes it feel like a Hollywood version of a documentary, if that makes sense. The movie illustrated the chaos and unpredictability of events like this. And it makes you always ask yourself, how would I have reacted if I were in this situation, right? Some of the real television coverage from the siege is also used in the movie. And the filmmakers actually conducted hours of interviews with survivors and witnesses in order to tell the true story accurately. And again, I really appreciate that. Rather than yelling, fighting, or acting like a jerk, I thought it was really sweet and respectful how Arjun, Dev Patel, explained the significance of his headscarf to a guest who wanted him to remove it. So there's lots of action and dying and crazy stuff, but there are a few quiet moments where these insightful conversations take place. And I love that balance, because you just can't be barraged by death and bullets and horror the entire time. You kind of need a chance to catch your breath, right? So this movie does have some of that. It is hard to watch because it feels so real. And at the end of the movie, you actually get to read more about the event and see video clips of the survivors, which I always appreciate. So some of the things that I didn't like is that it points out pretty obviously that, what a travesty it was that the police or rescue services weren't even available to show up for so many hours after so much damage and death had occurred. And let that lesson be a lesson to you, to be prepared. Even in the United States, where we have a great 911 system and emergency providers can get to you pretty quickly, if it's a really big earthquake or tornado and massive devastation, it could take 72 hours before rescue workers are able to get to you. So learn some survival tactics and emergency preparedness skills so that you can defend yourself and be prepared for any kind of disaster. We live in a really scary day and age where crazy stuff can happen, even in what you think is the safest of places. And so you just need to think ahead, plan ahead, be prepared, have some skills, have some knowledge, and hopefully that can be a lesson after you watch this movie. And if you choose to watch this with your kids, talk about how can we be prepared, and talk about various scenarios, not to scare your kids, but to be prepared and to let them know that they need to how to handle a particular situation. For example, a friend of mine's daughter and her friend were walking home from middle school, and this car pulled over on the side of the road, and a guy got out of the car and with a smile said, "Oh, do you mind if I borrow your phone?" And these are two really good girls, and they were like, "Okay." And one of them hands the phone to this guy. He grabs it, jumps in the car where there's a getaway driver who drives them off. And these girls had no idea, that a situation like that could ever occur. And had their parents maybe said, never talk to people when they get out of a car, especially if they're strangers, or if somebody wants to borrow your phone, tell them they could walk into the school and borrow a phone there, just to tool your kids with ways to handle certain situations. And again, not to scare them, but just to let them know that we live in a world where they have to be prepared, basically. Okay, I'm driving that into the ground. And then finally, it was just kind of frustrating to watch people make stupid choices that put them into more danger. And although it was a true story, I mean, it was just a little bit frustrating. And not that I would make all the greatest decisions in the world. I mean, people are scared and frightened, and you don't think straight. And part of that is being prepared as well. Anyway, was it a good movie? Yes. Was it well done? Yes. Is it for everyone? No. And I don't know, with that, hopefully, if you watch the movie, you'll enjoy it and you'll learn some lessons from it, rather than just be entertained by the blood and the horror, because that's not the lesson you want to get from it. Anyways, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for supporting me in my little effort in cyberspace, and I'll see you at the next movie review. Bye for now.